Imagine a whisper so powerful it could shatter a young girl's heart, even after she saved a life. This is the story of a 12-year-old black girl, a CEO, and a whisper that changed everything. We've all seen heroes on screen, but true heroism often unfolds in the quietest moments, by the most unlikely individuals. What happens, though, when a heroic act is met not with celebration, but with a crushing misunderstanding? Stay with us to unravel the true meaning behind those words. Our journey begins on a flight like any other, where destiny was about to unfold. The hum of the engines, the gentle sway of the plane, an ordinary flight from London to New York, Flight 714, until it wasn't. For Marcus Thorne, CEO of a multi-billion-dollar tech empire, it was the moment his world almost ended. Marcus, a man accustomed to being in control, to making quick decisions that shaped industries, suddenly felt an unfamiliar wave of disorientation. He was slumped in his first-class seat, his usual power suit feeling impossibly heavy, his breath catching in his throat. A searing pain shot through his chest, followed by a dizzying fog. He tried to call for help, but only a gurgle escaped his lips before darkness consumed him. Panic rippled through the first-class cabin. Flight attendants rushed over, their faces etched with alarm. "Is there a doctor on board?" A voice blared over the intercom, laced with urgency. Passengers looked on, helpless, as Marcus's skin turned ashen. But in the economy section, a pair of sharp, observant eyes had noticed the commotion. Aisha, a quiet 12-year-old black girl, was traveling alone to visit her aunt in Brooklyn. She was small for her age, with braids intricately woven and eyes that missed nothing. Unlike many kids her age, she wasn't engrossed in a screen. She was simply observing, a habit instilled by her grandmother, a retired nurse who believed in paying attention to the world around you. Aisha had spent many afternoons at her grandmother's house, not just listening to stories, but absorbing practical knowledge. Her grandmother had taught her basic first aid, emphasizing the importance of staying calm in an emergency. When the call for a doctor went out, Aisha's heart pounded, but her mind remained clear. She recognized the signs. Her grandmother had shown her videos, explained symptoms. This wasn't just someone feeling unwell. This was serious. Without a second thought, Aisha unbuckled her seatbelt. The flight attendant, a young woman named Sarah, was trying to make sense of the chaos, her voice trembling. He stopped breathing. Sarah exclaimed, her face pale. Aisha walked calmly towards the first-class cabin. "Excuse me," she said, her voice surprisingly steady for a girl of her age. "I think I can help." Sarah, caught off guard by the sight of a child, hesitated for a moment. But there was something in Aisha's eyes, a quiet confidence that transcended her years. "My grandmother taught me basic first aid," Aisha explained, already assessing the situation. "He needs help with his airway." She gently but firmly pushed past a bewildered passenger. Marcus lay motionless, his face alarmingly blue. Aisha quickly assessed his position, then, with practiced hands, tilted his head back and lifted his chin, opening his airway. She checked for breath, then began chest compressions, just as her grandmother had shown her. 1, 2, 3. Her small frame worked tirelessly, focused solely on the task at hand. The rhythmic compressions echoed in the suddenly silent cabin. Minutes stretched into an eternity. Sweat beaded on Aisha's forehead, but she didn't falter. Finally, with a gasp that startled everyone, Marcus Thorne coughed, his body arching slightly. A collective sigh of relief swept through the plane. The flight attendant, tears in her eyes, knelt beside Aisha. You saved him," she whispered, awe in her voice. Aisha, exhausted but relieved, simply nodded. What drove this young girl to act when others froze? It was a combination of learned knowledge and an innate, powerful empathy. With the crisis averted, a breath of relief filled the cabin, but the most poignant moment was yet to come. As the fog of unconsciousness lifted, Marcus Thorne opened his eyes to a world he almost lost. The sterile smell of the plane was still present, but now it was mixed with the faint scent of fear and, oddly, something akin to ozone. He blinked, his vision slowly clearing. A flight attendant was speaking to him, her voice hushed, but his gaze was drawn to a small figure standing a few feet away. It was Aisha. He tried to speak, but his throat was dry and raw. The flight attendant explained, in hushed, reverent tones, how this young girl had intervened, how she had known exactly what to do when no one else did. Marcus's mind, still groggy, struggled to comprehend. A child? Marcus Thorne, a man whose life was insured for millions, whose decisions impacted thousands, had been saved by a 12-year-old? A wave of profound gratitude washed over him. He managed a weak smile and gestured for Aisha to come closer. Aisha approached cautiously, her small hands clasped in front of her. She looked tired, her braids slightly askew, but there was a quiet dignity about her. Marcus looked at her, truly looked at her, a young black girl, barely a teenager, yet possessing a presence and courage that shamed his own moments of doubt. He wanted to thank her, to express the overwhelming debt he felt. He cleared his throat, trying to find his voice. The flight attendants, other passengers, they all watched, expecting a heartfelt exchange. Marcus leaned closer, his voice still weak, and whispered something only Aisha could hear. His words were barely audible, a faint, raspy sound. He had meant to convey a deep, personal regret, a profound realization that had struck him in the face of his own mortality. He wanted to tell her how her act of pure, selfless kindness had opened his eyes to something he had long overlooked, a deep-seated regret about the world he lived in and his own place within it. He wanted to confess his own failings, his own past blind spots concerning opportunities for people like her. But in his weakened state, the words came out garbled, fragmented, laced with an unintended tone of self-pity that, in Aisha's innocent ears, sounded something else entirely. He finished his whisper, then looked at her, expecting a reciprocal nod, a shared moment of understanding. Instead, Aisha's eyes, which moments ago had held a quiet strength, suddenly welled up. Her lower lip began to tremble. A single crystalline tear tracked a path down her cheek, followed by another and another. Her small shoulders began to shake. She didn't say a word, just turned and hurried back to her seat in economy, her head bowed. The sudden shift in her demeanor left everyone stunned. What could a life-saving hero possibly say that would break a child's spirit? The whispers lingered, a puzzle that begged to be solved, and the truth, as it often does, was far more complex than it seemed. The scene was set, a heroic act, a grateful CEO, and a heartbroken child. The flight attendants and passengers were left scratching their heads. What could Marcus Thorne have possibly whispered to the girl that made her cry? Many assumed the worst, perhaps a dismissive word, a tone that implied she was just a child, or even something subtly prejudiced. The air on Flight 714, once thick with relief, now hung heavy with unspoken questions. Marcus, too, was baffled. He couldn't understand why Aisha had reacted that way. As he regained his strength and his mind cleared, the flight attendants approached him, gently probing. "Mr. Thorne," one began, "the young girl, Aisha, she seemed quite upset after you spoke with her." Marcus frowned, genuinely confused. Upset? But I was thanking her. I was expressing something very personal, very profound. He paused, piecing together his thoughts. I told her, I said, "I wasted so much time, Aisha. So much. You showed me what true courage is. I wish I had seen this sooner, really seen it, before it almost cost me everything. My life, my purpose, all of it. I wish I had paid more attention to people like you, with that kind of innate goodness, instead of chasing." And then I trailed off, I think. The flight attendant listened, her expression slowly shifting from concern to understanding. She realized Marcus, in his weakened state, hadn't articulated his full thoughts. His whisper, meant as a deep, heartfelt lament about his own past focus on material wealth and status over human connection and social impact, had been misinterpreted. He wasn't disparaging Aisha. He was criticizing himself, acknowledging his own blindness to the invaluable qualities found in people from all walks of life. especially those often overlooked. He was expressing regret for not having used his immense power and privilege to uplift and empower others, or to recognize genuine potential sooner. Later, after the plane landed and Marcus had fully recovered, he made it his mission to find Aisha. He sat with her and her aunt in a quiet lounge at JFK, the chaos of the airport a distant hum. This time, his voice was strong, clear, and filled with a raw honesty. He explained his whisper, not just what he said, but what he meant. He told her about his life, the relentless pursuit of success, and how her selfless act had been a startling mirror, reflecting his own shortcomings, his own moments of failing to see the worth in every individual, his own missed opportunities to make a real difference. He explained that his tears, which Aisha might have assumed were about her, were actually tears of regret for his own past, for the privilege he took for granted, for the times he'd been oblivious to the struggles and inherent goodness in people from backgrounds different from his own. He spoke of the guilt he felt for not having been more aware, more proactive, more human. Aisha listened, her initial defensiveness slowly melting away. She saw the genuine pain in his eyes, the sincere remorse. The misunderstanding, once a source of pain, transformed into a powerful bridge, connecting two lives in the most unexpected way. This unexpected reversal, what seemed like a clear case of prejudice, was turned on its head, revealing a much more nuanced and human story. Sometimes, the biggest lessons come from the quietest moments. A single whisper, a ripple of misunderstanding, and then a wave of profound connection. This is the enduring legacy of Aisha and Marcus. What began as a moment of medical crisis evolved into a powerful lesson in empathy, the danger of snap judgments, and the extraordinary beauty of human connection. Marcus Thorne, profoundly moved by Aisha's quiet heroism and the raw self-reflection her act caused, emerged from the experience a changed man. The whisper wasn't a slight, it was a catalyst. He established the Aisha Fund, a foundation dedicated to empowering young people from underserved communities, focusing on STEM education and leadership development. He used his immense platform, his influence, and his wealth not just to make profits, but to create genuine opportunities, driven by the memory of Aisha's quiet strength and the realization that true value lies not in what you accumulate, but in how you contribute. He became a vocal advocate for diversity and inclusion, no longer just for optics, but from a deeply personal conviction. Aisha, initially hurt, ultimately gained a deeper understanding of human complexity. She realized that even powerful people carry their own burdens and regrets, and that misunderstandings can be opportunities for growth. This experience strengthened her resolve and compassion. She continued to excel in school, her confidence boosted by the knowledge that she could, and did, make a profound difference. She eventually pursued a career in medicine, inspired by her grandmother and her own life-saving act, always carrying the lesson that looking beyond the surface reveals the most profound truths. Their story became a testament to the fact that heroism comes in many forms, and that true connection transcends age, race, or status. It's a powerful reminder to look beyond the surface, to question our assumptions, and to embrace the potential for good in every human heart. This story reminds us that every interaction holds a hidden depth. If you found inspiration in Aisha's courage and Marcus's journey of understanding, you'll love our next video, where we explore another incredible tale of unexpected kindness. Click here to discover the homeless artist who painted a city's soul. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more transformative stories, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear how this story resonated with you.